Alright, now back with the... now it's really crooked. Does that help? Hold on. It always gets kind of crooked when I'm trying to... I think I get it straight, and then it still this looks crooked-ish. Oh, yeah, that's better. Alright, back with the Big Love on Campus reviews. Got distracted doing other things. Had to finish the Pick 1080s too. Got that done. Was going to do a whole bunch this weekend, and then the weekend came, and I decided to do the goodbye the 2K22 videos. And now I can scoot this up just a little bit. And so I figured I'd do a few tonight, some tomorrow as well, and then I'll probably another break because 2K23 is going to come out. I'm probably going to play all day Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, chance of interviews coming out on those days, except for Wednesday, because it's still March of the Living Dead. So you get that one. It was pre-recorded last month. Anyway, Big Love on Campus, Season 2, Episode 4. The Girl Who Spied Wolf. And this is the turning point for the Lori character where, they didn't outright make her like Stacy. She was far from the character that Stacy was. Stacy was the damsel in distress all the time. And while there are a couple of times, a few times in the series where Lori gets captured, it's never overtly damsel in distress because we know Lori can hold her own in a situation. Just sometimes happens, like in case of this episode, she does get taken, but then we see how much ass she can actually kick. So, and this is our introduction to a recurring villain that shows up within a few episodes of the next two seasons. The evil werewolf syndicate, the evil werewolf leader, whose name I don't know. And at least in this episode, the werewolves we deal with are the evil werewolf leader, Brother Ambrose, and then this other polite werewolf guy, who I think is supposed to be an early version of Chip, who is another polite werewolf character we will meet later. But I think that's who it's supposed to be, but they replaced the actor. I think it's supposed to be that type of character. I don't know if it's the same character, but it's that type of character. All the other werewolf syndicate members are people, extras in cloaks, basically is what it is. And they want Tommy Dawkins. They don't explain why in this episode why they want Tommy to join specifically, but he's a werewolf, and they think because he's a werewolf they want him to join. It will be explained in a two-parter, the first two-parter of the series, later on this season, which I don't know if I'll get to today, but it's a good two-parter. This one is the lesser of the Werewolf Syndicate episodes in Season 2. It's just an introduction. The werewolf leader sends out Brother Ambrose to get Tommy, to which he answers, "Nope." Explain. Ambrose, whatever. And so then we get the credits. Phase I'm going through. And then right away, they set the scene that Lori knows Tommy's the werewolf. She's figured it out, and she's no longer hiding it to herself, and she is confronting Tommy about it. But she's like, "I'm not a werewolf. I know what you're talking about. I'm not the werewolf. Werewolves are scary evils." And he's like, "I'm a nice guy." And she's like, "Well, the werewolf is nice, too. The werewolf saved me, Believe it. But he doesn't admit it. And so he talks with Merton. She's getting very close to figuring it out, and he's like, "Well, I know what we'll do. I'll hypnotize her. I got a unitard, which I don't know what difference between a unitard and a leotard is, but it's a unitard, and he's going to hypnotize Lori into forgetting about the werewolf, or forgetting that she thinks Tommy's the werewolf. I don't know. But then Tommy gets a note left at home with Dean, who's watching The Partridge Family right now. And the note basically says, "I know who you are, and meet me alone in the park tonight." And so he asked if it was a cute girl, and he's like, "No, it was a guy, Adam's apple, and he's like, he names off like 3 guys. He is like the eyes of Luke Perry, the face of or the nose of Brian Austin Green, and the body build of Ian Ziering. I don't think this guy looks anything like any of that amalgamation. He's actually not a very attractive man. Then again, I'm not attracted to men, so I guess I wouldn't know. But there are some, guys chiseled abs that even guys can admit that's a good looking man. But this guy is just like Joe Blow, normal dude. Okay, probably better attractive than me. I mean, I'm sexy, but this dude, maybe more than me. Anyway, enough of making people go, so he goes to the park where he finds Lori. And if you're watching this and you're confused, wait a minute, Dean said it wasn't Lori. Oh, I forgot to mention, Dean calls the cable company because one of the channels went out. And he calls, he's like, hello, Pleasantville Cable? It's Dean. Like, they know who he is because he's called there before. But yeah, so Tommy goes to the park. Lori is there, and she's like, because it's going to be a full moon. She's like, I know you're the werewolf, and we're going to be handcuffed, and we're going to stay here until the full moon comes up, and you're going to turn. When you know it, luck has it, Brother Ambrose shows up, fully wolfed, and throws her off, at least for this point. And so she uncuffs Tommy, and he cuffs her to the thing, and it runs off. I didn't see if he threw away the key or if he took the key with him, but he runs off after Brother Ambrose. And then Merton shows up, doing a weird, you're getting sleepy accent, and then she kicks his ass and knocks him over the thing. Next time we see him, he has a sling in his arm. I don't know, but Tommy reaches Brother Ambrose, who's like, I told you to come alone. He goes, I didn't mean for that to happen. He's like, what do you want? He goes, I want you to join the werewolf syndicate. We're evil werewolves. I want you to join us. You're a werewolf too. That's how it works, or something like that. And he won't do it. And so Merton is now injured because of that. But they end up in the factory. There's some talking scenes in the hallway. It's not really factual. Oh, Lori does get pissed because she left him there. He didn't go back for her. You think after that was done, he would go back to check on her, but he just left her? I guess he didn't go back to check on her. She said some creepy guy in a leotard showed, some weird pervert in a leotard showed up. Like, weird pervert, kind of funny, but freaky pervert or something like that. How she didn't figure out it was Merton because he uses the regular voice at first. Just calm down. You calm down. You're getting sleepy. But, no. Yeah, there's that. And so they're in the factory, and the guy shows up, and of course, because he's not wolfed out, Ambrose is wolfed out, he doesn't recognize him. His eyes glow up for some reason. Oh, is this the guy, the syndicate? He's a little less hairy than he was last night, but yes, I think it's him. And so, sorry, I was thinking of something else. I didn't do the episode, but I watched the premiere earlier, and there was something funny. Guy hit his head. That somehow crossed into my mind as I was talking about this. I don't know why, but I looked at the TV and it crossed. I don't know. Or the Xbox. I looked at the Xbox. Anyway, so he says, if you're not going to... Well, there is a scene where he goes back to the syndicate and says that there's someone they can go after, basically. So he says, there's a scene where he did show up and grab Lori. He tricks her. She thinks the werewolf's good. Knocks her out and takes her hostage. So he's like, hey, I don't think Lori would agree with you. And so he has meet the mausoleum or whatever it is in the graveyard where they were before, basically. And then so Tommy is forced to change into the werewolf, and blow the whole thing because it was all set up like, oh, he's no longer in, a suspect, but now he's forced to reveal himself, and he fights Ambrose. But Ambrose is a little strong, and I think people nowadays will go woke when they see this because they've, a werewolf can't defeat a werewolf, but then Laurie gets out of her restraints and just kicks his ass. So a lot of people would yell out woke, but this was back then. I don't think, like, nowadays they would do it on purpose, like what they did with Supergirl, where in Elseworlds, what it is, Superman was always less powered up than Supergirl, even though he's been around longer than she has. He's not as strong as her because girl power, right? But this is different. I still don't think it makes any sense that a regular teenage girl could beat up a werewolf when the werewolf couldn't hold his own. But, and then Merton shows up. How did he know where they were? I don't know. And then we're shown that the Werewolf Syndicate leader gets rid of Brother Ambrose like Dr. Evil, just pushes a button, falls into a fire pit thing. Reminds me of Dr. Evil. And they said that Tommy Dawkins is not free of him yet. And then we get a end scene with a voiceover where they're showing all the werewolf stuff to her. And she finds the unitard and hits Merton. And yeah, so going forward, Laurie will be a part of the team, which, like I said, was kind of spoiled by the advertisements because they wanted to show, preview for the new season, but they ruined it by saying she's going to be a part of it. And if it was in the first episode, that would be one thing, but we're going to wait till the 4th episode before she actually joins the team. If it can be official, it's episode 5, which I'm interested to see because it's one of my favorites, I guess. But, yeah. So, yeah, we're moving on to the next one.